Anyway, sold his company, has $500 million and wants to give it away. It's hard to give away a lot of money. Where do you go?
Welcome back to the Change Reaction Podcast. I'm Matt West, amplifying the good works of others, acting as a force multiplier for the people and organizations who are on the front lines supporting our community. That's the mission of the Change Reaction, and that's what we're getting into on today's show. We've got Change Reaction co-founder Greg Perlman and Brooke Perlman together on the show, and we're looking back at what an amazing year it's been for this team and getting a glimpse at what's on the horizon as we move into a new year. Let's get into it. Well, it's a family affair today. I love this. Got Greg Perlman, Brooke Perlman, Matt West. Hi. Welcome back, man. It's always good to see you.
Yeah, great to be here again.
So much stuff happening at the Change Reaction, and I want to get into it. But I wanted to start off by getting your opinion on some news that was just brought to our attention this week, which is, to me, it's a little bit confusing. And knowing what you know about finances and the economy with all of your experience, I'm wondering if you can kind of help me understand what's happening with this big announcement from Michael Dell and the United States government. It's a $6.25 billion investment in these Trump accounts for kids born between a certain year, I guess starting at the beginning of 2025 through 2028. They're all getting a $250 investment into a Trump account, which is basically a long-range investment account that will allegedly grow over time that they can then access when they're 18 years old. I think that's the headline. I think that's the basic premise of it. One, it doesn't make sense to me on its face. Just talking it through, it doesn't make sense. And then two, the thing that I really want to understand from your perspective is that going to make an impact? Because so much of what we do at the Change Reaction, there's a clear line between sending money out to an individual or to an organization and the impact that it creates. So let's start there. What do you think about this program and this investment, and where do you think this is going to go for people?
Well, I think, first off, I think the Trump account is something that the federal government is going to be doing, where they're going to be putting money into new kids born from 25. So what Michael Dell did is he went backwards. Like, what about the existing kids?
Okay.
So he's helping 25 million kids with $250 each. And that's the $6.25 billion. And let's kind of like make a really positive statement. That's a very generous gift.
Right.
I don't really know of many gifts. I mean, we know that Mackenzie Bezos gives significant money every year and whatever, but in one gift, $6.25 billion, I don't care what his net worth is. They say it's $150 billion. That is unbelievably generous. So I love the energy and spirit of it.
And these kids that he's sort of filling in the gap for, these are in communities where I think people are making less than $100,000 a year.
$150,000 median income. I kind of read through it. And look, the biggest issue that I have with it is not just that I believe that the impact on the recipients is going to be so minimal, because $250, is only still $250 in this country, which doesn't buy much. It's probably on the fulfillment, factor for the giver. Because I think one of the things that needs to drive giving is givers being fulfilled and going, whoa, look at this impact that my money had. I want to continue to do it. That's why I got to the position that I'm in now, because I've gotten so much fulfillment watching my money have impact on so many thousands of people. It's kind of like a drug. It makes you want to continue on. So I'm a little concerned that they kind of look back and go, well, that really didn't fulfill me. And it's like, oh man, we have an opportunity here for this other $148 billion to get from this guy. But if you do the math, I think it's for kids between 1 and 10 years old, and they can't touch it till they're 18. It's in some sort of account, that has to go into like maybe an index fund, call it like the S&P index. And they kind of said if they do the math with the average age in 10 years, that, $250, if the markets continue to go up 10% a year, that'll be something about $650. Okay. Look, in many communities, that's, people would really be happy to have $650. But, when you're trying to kind of say, oh, this will help you buy a house, this will help you start a business, this will help you go to college. Like, no, none of the above. It'll give you $650. I think they're saying, too, that they're trying to encourage parents to match and start to give into this account, maybe $10 a month, whatever it is, so it does grow alongside of it. But just from a sheer impact of the gift, unfortunately, and then, $650 in 10 years won't be like $650 today, because that's with our, with the way that our inflation in the world works. It'll have even less of an impact in 10 years. So I just feel impactful wise, it's a little bit of a publicity stunt in a way.
It feels like it,
Yeah.
right? Because again, like if you're talking about putting money into accounts for children whose families are making less than $150,000 a year, presumably they don't have a lot of room to invest in vehicles outside of maybe they have a 401k at work, right? They don't have additional monies to spend. So you're asking parents to then become investors where they may not have the room to do it. So it feels in a lot of ways you're forcing kids and families into the market.
Look, I don't know what the spirit was behind the gift. I'm sure he wanted to move some money and kind of showcase that he was being generous, which he is. So like I said, I don't want to take that away from him. I don't know if there was something, within relationships he has with the president and the Trump accounts and being part of that.
Sure.
I just think that I read that originally he wanted to do it just in Texas, and then decided to do it in a much bigger area, the whole country. And I just feel like it gets watered down. One of the things that I've always been focused on is, here, one of the things at the Change Direction, one of the things that we've been focused on is trying to address homelessness, right?
Right.
And I say, okay, whatever the number is, call it 75,000 people are homeless. And I go, okay, well, I'm not capable of addressing all those homeless people, whatever they would need. I don't have the financial capability. But if I can kind of take it down and say, what about homeless families that are currently working, of which there are many of those. Right. Now, maybe that's down to 2,000 families. I'm like, well, you know what? I can actually give each of those families, rent, security deposit for whatever they need to get housed. And that's a $10 million gift as opposed to a $350 million gift that I don't have, where I'd have to, if I want to help 75,000 people, I'd have to give them each $250, which would then be gone. So I feel a smaller sample size with bigger impact is more important than everybody getting just a little drop. And that's unfortunately the direction they went. And, whatever the reasons behind it, again, I still want to state for the third time, it's a generous gift, just not the way that I went about it. And I think may leave them feeling empty and unfulfilled with their giving.
And the craziest part about it is we're going to have to wait 10 years, maybe longer, to find out if the theory behind this actually works.
Right, and the concern too is it's a significant gift, but that empty feeling is not going to motivate him to want to do more. I think you were saying that earlier, Dad, like the feeling you get and the fulfillment you have and the energy it brings you for the impact you're having, it makes you want to do more and more and more. But if you're this removed, helping millions of children, feeling good that you gave them that gift, and then you wait 10 years. I mean, we don't know if he'll meet is he going to meet them? Is he going to be involved?
And the problem with publicity is that it goes away.
Right.
He got all that news all over that day. He was in the White House, I think, making his announcement. And the old expression that today's news is tomorrow's fish wrappings. Right. I mean, it's gone.
Yeah.
It'll be sitting on Google if you want to Google Michael Dell, and that'll happen. But everyone made a big deal. We're talking about it today. We might be the last conversation anyone's going to have about it.
I think the other thing too that's coming up, listening to you, Brooke, is there's also the skepticism. Like, I'm super skeptical of this. I think you're a little skeptical of it too. We're all a little like, we'll wait and see. That's got to have an impact on people who have money, who are thinking about ways to move their money, right? If they're inspired by the work you're doing, if they're inspired by the work of Mackenzie Bezos, if they have the means and they want to make a big swing, because again, like $6 billion is a huge gift. But if you're a little skeptical about the result, it may cause people to hesitate.
Well, look, I've been around a lot of wealthy people, and I've seen one of the things that stops them from moving forward is because they want to solve something big.
Right.
You know, I want to end poverty. I want to, you know, have everybody have food. I want healthy people. I want to end malaria, whatever it is. You know, one person, we were working on a project to help some of the people in Gaza get food, and somebody was like, no, and he wasn't very wealthy. And he goes, well, I want my money to going towards figuring out how to make peace between the Palestinians and Israelis. I'm like, oh my God, well, do you have $100 billion to give? I don't know that can solve it, but your 200,000 sure isn't going to be there. But like everybody wants to be part of this big solution. So now what happened is that they kind of went like, oh my God, what if we gave every kid basically, you know, this account? You know, we can solve for this financial insecurity of children throughout the country, and it's not. And the problem is that you have to feel, you know, if you can kind of, I'm okay being Los Angeles focused, which is 10 million people, and I still can't deal with all the need here. But God, we're just here, and we're just making victory after victory. And if at the end of my life, I've helped 500,000 people, you know, somehow with impactful giving and thoughtfulness and actual heart-to-heart loving way of addressing their needs, I think I've done great. Yeah, I didn't figure it all out. I didn't solve all of LA's poverty issues and their homeless issues and the domestic violence issues. But man, did I solve it for a lot of people. And you got to be okay with that. The people who are looking to end climate change and end this, they just want such a big thing. And I think he took this big swing at ending something that unfortunately is not going to end it. And I don't know if he went all in on his entire net worth of $150 billion and, you know, made that gift, you know, what would it be, you know, 20x that would naturally do it. Have more impact, obviously, to give everybody 5,000. That might kind of give them some move, but, you know, he's not doing that.
So we're going to have to wait and see what happens there. But let's look back and see what's happened here. Because, you know, you talk about, well, I don't know what kind of impact, you know, I'm going to make at the end of it. But the Change Reaction's made a massive impact this year. So I just kind of want to spend a little time and kind of just look back at everything that's happened in the past year, because a huge focus of what's going on has been around fire relief, but it's not the only thing that's gone on. So I just wanted to kind of take an opportunity, you know, let's start with you, Greg, and tell me what's been the most impactful thing for you as the co-founder of the Change Reaction.
Yeah, I think that the fires were just a lightning rod for us. It kind of took us from being fairly under the radar publicly, even though we were very much one of the most known, you know, organizations, you know, here. I think that it took us publicly into a different place, and you know the impact that this had on so many thousands of just hardworking people that were really had their lives set. And that's what we've always been about. Is how do we find hardworking people who just are facing kind of an issue that we need to solve and make sure they don't fall down. You know, that's kind of what the Change Reaction's all about. And now you have 10, 15,000 people that lost their homes, almost all of whom were just working folks. You know, some working really successfully, very successful people in Altadena and in Palisades, and just a lot of just teachers and musicians and artists and just all these folks that everything was just going just fine. So it was almost like we always are talking at the Change Reaction, how do we find these working people? They don't just show up. That's why we've had to do so much work. The team has gone out into every nook and cranny. How do we find working people? They're not asking for help. And now I got 10,000 plus families that all need help, all of whom would be exactly in the wheelhouse of the sort of people that you would want to get behind. People who are just figuring it out, making their lives work, and then bam, it shot them backwards. And it's going to set some families back for their entire lives. And it's been super powerful. I think, we've built our team further. We now have another 8 full-time people who've worked just on wildfires, and they're somehow becoming part of the Change Reaction team. We had a team meeting yesterday. I think we had 18 people in the conference room, and
yeah, it was packed.
I think when the wildfire giving program, it's starting to slow down. I don't want to even say ever ending, but I kind of want those people in forever. So it's we got this amazing team of people, so that's awesome. And they've already been, many of them were in the communities doing super impactful giving in their organizations. Several founders of organizations who are there, and they were already part of the change reaction. And now I could just see us, having this much bigger, deeper team to go out into LA and continue to, absorb all the issues going on and figuring out how we can identify those people to get behind.
That's awesome. What about you, Brooke? What's been the biggest thing for you just watching all this?
Just feeding off of what you're saying, I've always felt so much that our change reaction superpower, our secret sauce, as I'll say, is having and finding people in the middle, these frontline, we always call them heroes, who have dedicated their lives to service and to work. And we've done it, we've seen it, we've supported them with financial resources and other resources for years. But to have something like the fires come and to watch our team step up and say, what are we going to do and how are we going to help as many people as we can who've been impacted by the fires? It was supercharging the people in the middle. And I feel like now that the fires had happened and it was so extreme and so big, and we supercharged all of these people to go out and find people who needed support, it's kind of mind-blowing to watch and to see. You're calling clergy and social workers and doctors and nurses, and you're just calling them up because everybody knows someone who was impacted by the fires. So to me, watching that kind of explode and being able to be part of that was incredible.
Yeah, it's been a cool thing to play witness to.
Yeah.
And we've really developed actually some really, really strong relationships with the clergy. That's how we initially did our big giveaways for the Palisades fire survivors, victims, and Altadena. And we made great relationships with churches and temples, in Palisades. We actually went to Shabbat dinner at Rabbi Cunan's from the Chabad, had a dinner at his house and spent the night with them. And then Bishop Dorsey and some of the other churches in Altadena made super relationships with them, had a big barbecue with them a couple weeks earlier. And so it's become personal, which is what you need. This is the good stuff. This is the best part of it. People don't think about it. This is like the best part of the giving, and being able to build these brand new relationships that people I think I will be friends with, we will all be for a long period of time, is great. And, but there's been some other things that have happened, this year that I'm kind of like, I've questioned, and it's kind of taken us, into a different place. As you know, I always say that the change reaction is an not a the,
right.
And it's basically this confluence of, donors and social workers and our amazing team and just all these people in the community that we just lift up. We go out and they go out and they just multiply times 1,000 the people that they're helping. It's this beautiful thing, and we've been doing it kind of under the radar. And we're very well, we've committed so much money personally. We have other donors who are involved. And then all of a sudden we went public. And next thing you know, we started raising money from outside people. And we actually did what I thought was amazing. We raised over $10 million from other donors. And and then we started getting a lot of media attention. People are writing us up. Well, I've been on the news personally, and news stations and articles about us. But then all of a sudden there's like a scorecard. And I kind of all of a sudden understand what all these organizations go through, because we're not like them, is that they need media attention in order to go raise money. That's how 99% of organizations survive. Right. And I'm like, oh my God, all of a sudden I've got this scorecard. And I'm going, wait a second. We've given out, I think through October 31st, we just did a report, we've given out $17 million directly to families, all vetted, all throughout our entire platform and program. And yet we're not even getting named. I mean, there's not even the close second. The close second is nobody. We're more than the Red Cross, and it's all so vetted and personalized. So I'm like, why aren't we in this article? How come we didn't get mentioned? How come we didn't do this? Next thing you know, there's a scorecard. And then there's donors who are like, oh, no, I'm not going to give there. I'm going to wait and do and see and this and that. I'm like, oh, what's with this miser? Or why is he giving over there? Or why is she not involved? And next thing you know, you start getting frustrated. And I'm like, I've kind of made a decision. Like, I kind of like the way we were before. We got enough money. We are so known in the city with all the people we care about, which is all the amazing nonprofits, the hospitals, even the community leaders, the politicians, they all know about us, and all the people that we love. Like, let's just garner the love from the people in the change reaction that already have made up the change reaction, and just keep spinning it around and stop trying to go get so much love from the outside world, because then it's a scorecard. And then sometimes you say, I'm winning and I'm losing, and I don't like it.
But that's not walking backwards. That's not saying, okay, let's retreat and go back to the way it was. Like, I don't know that after the experiences that we've all had collectively this year, that you can suddenly like turn around and be like, okay, we're just going to go back to, being a quiet little, hero and helper and force multiplier for all of these partners, right? So you've learned a lot through the experience. What has it taught you, and what is it inspiring in you for moving forward?
What we've kind of realized, and what is starting to really, really, get set as the foundation of who we are, is the ability to identify what we call force multipliers. That's somebody who, by getting behind them, empowering them with funds, with energy, whatever you're empowering them with, resources, that they have the ability for that one can impact hundreds, maybe thousands. And so you kind of say, how do we just identify and continue to identify those people that are making changes? And some of them might not have that 100 times X, but we had Brenda on the show a few weeks ago, and giving her this no questions asked gift to help her stabilize her clothing company. How many jobs is she going to provide? Where's she going to grow to? What's she going to be doing for the community? How's she inspiring others in her community with her lines of clothing? Boom, one gift multiplied by, maybe it's 10, maybe it's 20, maybe it's 50 or 1,000, who knows? But then there are certain founders and community leaders and nonprofit heads that are just doing the best work. And like, how do we just get behind them? How do we make sure that they help more people? How do we just fund them? How do we empower them further and identify those people? We've had some really good people that we've met this year. And now you're starting to go, especially even around the fires, like, wow, these people, if we just get behind them and let them run free, oh my God, the amount of people they can influence. So I think it's going to be the continued, gifts that we do, letting the organizations find those working folks, making sure they don't fall down. But I think we've already kind of decided that this year is going to be the year of doing pushing up gifts, lifting up gifts, where it's talking 50,000, 100,000, 250,000, could be $1 million, where we expand, we power up, we do all sorts of things to all these people we've identified. And that's only capable because we have this amazing team currently of 11 that now kind of looks like it could be 18. And so no one can do what we can do out there. So we're going to go crazy in the city and just start pushing people to the next level.
Same question for you, right? Because getting to know you both this past year, like, you guys have very different passions, right? There's a lot of crossover, but you have causes and things and organizations that you're particularly passionate about. So, with that same idea of lifting up, like, what are the things that you're getting really excited about and looking forward to?
I actually feel very similar, even though we do have different passions and ideas. And a lot of what you were saying of people that are doing the work, I mean, we've had so many of them on the show. I'm thinking about, Homeboy and Be Positive, and just these organizations, these people who are so driven, they're so incredible. And when you empower them, you get to just let them soar.
Yeah.
You get to let them fly and do what they're capable of doing. And that's the biggest learning lesson, is that we only know so much. And we want to get involved. We want to know what's going on. But to empower those people, the Brendas, the Joes, the Shirley Torres of the world, who really are so capable and so know what they're doing, is such a beautiful thing. And I think we talk about this all the time, that people don't know where to give their money. They don't know how or where or what. And they don't, because it's overwhelming. They don't want to go there. They don't want to get involved. And we always say, try to get your feet wet and try to get involved. And, that's the fun part. That's the fun stuff. But to be able to meet those incredible founders and CEOs and social workers who are so passionate about the work, and you just hear them talk and you watch them work, give it to them. Like, let them do their thing. It's so incredible. And then they'll come back to you and they'll tell you what they did, and they'll bring recipients that you impacted. It's so powerful, those people. So that's what's making me so excited too. And it's true, seeing all the people we've brought in on the team who we've been working with over the last 4 years pre-fire, to have them around so much more and just keep amplifying their work and just empowering them is so, it's been so fun. That's been my favorite part.
Yeah, and I think, when we talk about, we're not under the radar anymore. You're right. We're not going, and I don't want to go back into hiding, but I think the purpose of what we're trying to maybe show, and the people we have on the show and the media that we release, I'm just trying to continually show, that there is this amazing city that we have with so many hundreds of just the best of the best who are lifting up so mmany people in so many different ways, some of whom are businesses. We got other business opportunities presented yesterday, going into Lemert Park and maybe helping some businesses. We're just finding so many passionate people that just don't have the resources. And so it's kind of like this wraparound LA. We're like, kind of sometimes call ourselves, I don't want to get too, whatever about, too like up in the clouds about it, but like sometimes we're angels, but not just us as the founders, not just the team, but everybody in the mix are like these angels, and we're just kind of we're just looking over LA, and we're just figuring out, how do we make this the best place to be? How do we let everybody know we got you? Like imagine if you're living in a place, there's angels kind of watching you, it's just, how do we kind of get that spirit? And I want to keep showcasing these people. I want to keep letting people know the issues that are happening in the city and the ways that we have to make it a better place. And then if people want to get involved, great. We're not out there raising money. We're not doing galas. We're not doing any of that. They want to get involved. Maybe they see something in somebody we're dealing with, people who've aged out of the foster system, one of our amazing orgs in that space, and they're saying, oh my God, they're amazing. Just give the money to them. Go get involved with them. Like, let us just be like the conduit for givers to maybe just say, hey, I heard about, Ready to Succeed, who helps all these kids, foster kids in college. That sounds like something I could really get behind and my family could get behind. Great. Let me give you the phone number. Go meet with them. Go give them your money. We don't need it. That's all I want to do, is just let people know the opportunities. I want to be like this, like sometimes we call it like an investment platform. Like we have a whole bunch of different investments. You want to be in the S&P, you want to be in bonds, you want to be in hedge funds. We're like that. You want to help foster kids, you want to help people hospitalized, people dealing with domestic violence issues, you want to help people coming re-entering out of prisons. We got it all covered. And we promise like a menu, you right? that they're the best of the best. Yeah. We've funded them. We've had relationships for 5, 6, 7 years with them. We've given them millions of dollars in some cases. We've audited them, we've vetted them, they continue to just impress. So just know that we're like this kind of one-stop shop, and it could come through us. Hey, I want to donate to Change Reaction. We're happy for that, but that's not what we're looking for. So I think the messaging is like a little bit less around, hey, donate to our wildfire fund. Hey, look at this new wildfire thing we did. Look at this new family we helped. Less about the end recipient and more about the people in the middle.
That's awesome. I mean, when I think about it too, it's like, it's not just about amplifying the efforts of all of these great partners and individuals who are out there on the front lines, but it's also shining a light on those efforts to inspire, right? Because you may want to invest. You may not have the money to invest. You may want to donate your time. You may want to donate your expertise. And if we can do just a little bit of that to draw attention to the good work and get people to, you say it all the time, like exercise their giving muscle, their generosity muscle, like that has impact too. And I think that's what's so cool about just building on that effort, right? And continuing to draw attention to all these, amazing partners.
And we would love to be that. I was having a conversation today with somebody who's a wealth advisor, and he was talking about this scientist. So he's like, kind of like not some fancy, person. And anyway, sold his company, has $500 million and wants to give it away. It's hard to give away a lot of money. Where do you go?
Right.
Especially if you've never done it. Go to the hospital. Sure, they'll take, whatever you give. They'll take all $500 million. Go to your alma mater. Give to a few galas because your friend's on the board of this and that. It's hard. What I always kind of envision would be really cool is, again, we don't care if it comes to Change Reaction or not, but somehow that we continue to make a name for ourselves, that people know that we're not this organization like just trying to be another one of the organizations. We're just this kind of confluence of all this energy of all these people who've gone out and identified, the people who in the city and the organizations in the city who are just the community changers. I mean, they're just the ones lifting up the city, and that you can just donate to them. Anybody that we've given hundreds of thousands and millions of dollars to over a period of time. We know what they do with the money. We know the impact that they're having. And you can just go sit with them. Like this person, I don't know him, but like if he came to me and said, hey, I heard you're the person I should be talking to about giving. Like, I've got 240 organizations. Where's your passion? Where's your heart? Your heart's in foster kids? Bam, I got 15 of them. Your heart's in dealing with patients, dealing with life-threatening illnesses? Got all of them too. You tell us, we got it, and you know that we're side by side with you because we're investing in these organizations, these people. We're continually funding them. And that, to me, I think would be like the spirit of where I would love to be kind of recognized, that not trying to get people to donate to us, just trying to give people a conduit so that they can follow their own passion and feel really good that there's somebody who can kind of stand up for these organizations.
I think it's really cool because it's a little bit like curation, right? And then vetting. And there's so many. It reminds me of when you're looking at a review, when you're trying to maybe I want to buy a new car or I need a new piece of technology, and you go looking at the reviews to see like, okay, how does it work, and does it meet your expectations, and knowing that you guys have already kind of done that because you've created the relationship. Like so much of this work is relational. So you've built a trust. You've helped move the money through. You've seen the direct impact, and then to be able to put that up for people to be like, are you looking for a place to put your money or your time? Here, we have this for you. We've curated this opportunity for you, and we're showcasing all this incredible work that's being done. It's beautiful, man.
Yeah, and it would take a lot. Like, we've grown to 11 full-time people. The overhead of the change reaction for just our team is more than 99% of people give, and without them, we don't get to 240 organizations where we're on the phones with them, we're having lunches with them, we're crying with them. These are they're part of the change reaction at this point. We don't fund them like as if they're underneath us. They're the change reaction. That's what makes the change reaction. It's an not a the. And that, taking that example of that person, for him to get to the point of even being comfortable to hire 10 people to go figure out how to give his money away, it's probably not going to happen. Very few of the people in the top 50 have an organization even like ours, so people aren't doing that. What this does is it shortcuts it. So it's like, you don't have to have that. You have us. This is what we're doing. You have access to this team. We've done all the hard work. You just have to figure out where your heart is, because that's what's got to drive the giving. We've talked about that before. It has to come from your heart. I don't know. Everyone's heart could be different. Some people's hearts is in saving pets. Some people's hearts is in the climate. And some people's in immigration and whatever it is. And we cover a lot of it. We cover pets. But we cover a lot of those sort of things in LA. And if your heart is in LA and you want to figure out how you can have an impact in LA, we're going to short circuit it. You don't need to hire your own team. We got it.
It's so good.
It's so easy to do. I kind of almost wish. I couldn't be happier because this team is now my family, but I kind of wish that when I was starting to explode my giving, I had this trusted one-stop shop, and I could have short-circuited the need of taking 5-6 years to get to the 240 organizations, somebody I trusted, and boom, there was a menu of 240 organizations filling out 15 different categories of people they're helping, that I could just, boom, be at the table and start moving my money. But, it grew organically.
It's so cool just having the conversation because I see you lighting up. I see your eyes lighting up, like as we're having this discussion. Like when you sit here, right, knowing that you're part of the experience and you're learning from the experience at the same time, like how excited are you about what's possible?
Oh my God. It feels really like the sky is the limit. I get this morning and night.
Sure.
But
we don't live together.
Yeah, but
we see each other enough where I get this energy all the time. But I work full time at the Change Reaction. I am not doing a shortcut, to this, to just be working with my dad. Like I'm communications manager. You and I, Matt, work all day,
very
all
closely,
the time. So it's fun to be on that side with however many staff, I can't keep count, of all of us that I get to really work with. I'm working alongside everyone, making sure that things are moving through the line to get the money where it needs to go, to get the whatever it is, the resource that we're doing, to get our team to all go to the volunteer so we can help with this one organization that we're dedicating our Tuesday afternoon to. Like, it's fun to be in that, especially when there's someone like my dad and my mom, Jody, who are really allowing the team to feel like they don't have to necessarily ask, his thoughts. Like, the team is so well equipped to do the work that the excitement and the energy is really contagious, and it's just all day. It's like, how are we going to help people today? Yeah. So for the future of it, I mean, it just grows every year. So I just, I can only look 1 year at a time because I just can't believe what we can do in a year. So
yeah, because you couldn't have predicted at the end of last year what you would have been dealing with and doing and creating this year, right? Yeah. So looking ahead, it's just nice to tap into that energy a little bit and think about what's possible without knowing like what opportunities or what challenges are ahead. And it's just, look, it's been awesome to be a part of it and to witness it. And it's just cool to chop it up with you for a little bit, to just hear where your head is at and where do you want to go with this. Because you're never not thinking, you're never not coming up with some kind of idea. So it's nice to take stock for a second and look back at everything that's happened and just kind of tap into like, okay, where do you want to go now?
Yeah, and that's why you have to stay in the mix. So what happened is some of the things that we did this past year, I'm like, ooh, I'm really feeling this energy. How do we expand on that? Yeah. And the beauty is when you have this team of just amazing people, I just have to put it out there, and next thing you know, the opportunities start coming in. Like literally, I put it out there a few weeks ago. This is something I want to start thinking about, and already everyone's like, "What about this person?" What about this? I'm like, "Oh my God, yes. Let's do it," and give you a chance. Potentially let the media, let people see, like, look who we're getting behind out there. Look at what's going on in LA. Yeah. Because, a lot of bad news about LA, a lot of bad news nationally. People get, frustrated with the city, maybe with the way some of the things are here and, with our, some of the crime and homeless. You always hear the negative. But, man, there's so many amazing people in LA, and we're going to find them, and we're going to show people. We're just going to keep lifting them to the front. Guys, Stop watching the media. Look at us. Look at all these people we are that are building businesses and hiring and changing people's lives. And we're going to just keep finding them, keep throwing them in front of you, and maybe trying to, balance out the message of this negative LA energy that I hear too much about.
It's so good, man. I'm super grateful for you being able to spend some time and come in. And Brooke, thank you so much for wrangling your dad and getting him in. You're so busy all the time. But it's been fantastic, man. Thanks for sharing it.
Good to be here.
Can you feel it? It's a vibe, right? We have so many things that we're excited to share with you in the new year. You're just going to have to stick with us to see what unfolds. Thanks again to Greg and Brooke Perlman for sharing their insights on this final show of 2025. We're looking forward to amplifying more stories of generosity and kindness and introducing you to the people who are out there making great things happen for their communities. Personal note of thanks to you for listening, subscribing, and sharing this podcast with your friends. It's a gift to sit in this chair, hear people's stories, and share them with you. And thanks to Roman D'Angelo for producing this episode and Peter Bean for editing it. I'm Matt West. We'll see you next time.